This is Tom Dupuis with Online Media Masters, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to do local SEO for a WordPress website. So when I refer to local SEO, I'm referring to both the local pack listings right here, as well as the localized organic listings right here. So you can actually find these under Moz's local search ranking factors, and they provide a really nice graph and all of the signals right here. So these are really the main things you want to focus on, but if you're specifically targeting the localized organic, these are the top ranking factors, and here are the local stack/snack pack ranking factors, which are the Google Maps listings, you could say, right here. So a lot of the ranking factors are not specific to WordPress, but I will show you a few things of what you can do to optimize your WordPress site, and I will go through all these ranking factors so you have a clear understanding. The main thing that people want to know and like to start with are their keywords and how they create content for those phrases. So a really good example is if I'm a photographer in Chicago, I actually can go to Google and type in Chicago blank photographer and use this little underline character, and Google will actually fill in the blank for me. So if I provide all these services, then I can write down all these keywords. Wedding photography, baby and newborn are pretty much the same. So you just choose one of those: nanny, maternity, children's. And you can also play around with the plural version, and that will give you even more results. You can also go blank photographer in Chicago, and who would have thought that people were searching for Indian wedding photographer in Chicago? Well, they are. It's right there. So you would add that to your keyword list as well. Wedding photographer in Chicago and Chicago wedding photographer are essentially the same keyword, so you don't have to add both. Just add Chicago wedding photographer, and that will be your keyword for wedding. So you really just want to play around with the different plurals and word ordering and using this underline character to have Google fill in the blank for you, but you can also get other keyword suggestions with Google Keyword Planner. HubShout Web Grader gives you a list of all the keywords your website currently ranks for, as well as 3 competitor websites. So if you're interested in looking at your competitors' keywords, HubShout Web Grader is the tool you want to go to. So you basically just create a keyword list, and then make sure that you're targeting those phrases on your site. So if you're strictly a Chicago wedding photographer, you would use your homepage to target that phrase. But if you offer a bunch of different types of photography services, you want to create a new page for every single type of photography service. So Indian wedding, best and cheap are not really descriptive, so you don't want to target those, but wedding photographer, newborn, family, portrait, headshot, all those you want a designated landing page for on your site. So I'll just do that really quickly. You're going to use the Yoast SEO plugin to optimize the content for those phrases, but you want to start just by creating a new page. Say we're targeting Chicago newborn photographer. So we would put it as the page title. We would set it as the focus keyword. So now we have it in the SEO title right here. It's in the page title, which we did up top. It's in the URL. We would write a nice little meta description. Tom is a Chicago newborn photographer helping people photograph their newborn. That's the worst meta description ever, but you get the point. You want to write a keyword-rich but very enticing meta description, as well as your SEO title. So if you look here and you look at click-through rate as actually a ranking factor, this means whenever someone types in Chicago newborn photographer, how many of those people are going to click on your result? And that really depends on how enticing your SEO title is, as well as your meta description. Obviously, it depends on where you rank, but Google has that all figured out. Just make sure that you're writing descriptive, keyword-rich meta descriptions, as well as your SEO titles. And then as a general rule, I recommend using your keyword maybe 2 to 3 times in the content. When you upload an image, you can label the file name as your keyword, and when you upload that, WordPress will automatically use the file name as the alt text, and you'll see no images appear on this page. Consider adding some. So when you upload them, you want that alt text to include your keyword as long as it's relevant to that image. So just one thing to keep in mind, Yoast only detects exact keyword matches. So if I start my content by saying Tom is a newborn photographer in Chicago, that Yoast is not going to pick this up as a keyword since it's not my Chicago newborn photographer exact match keyword. But it's still there, and I can basically ignore the fact that Yoast tells me my keyword density is low because a variation is there. So that's kind of my spiel on, even though you might not get green lights in some of these, if you have a variation of that keyword, then you can just ignore it and it should be fine. The last thing I want to go over in Yoast is that if you click this little share tab, when this page is shared on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, you'll notice a lot of times the image doesn't format properly. It might get cut off. So by uploading a custom image for Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, that image will format properly. Each social network has different dimensions, so yes, you will need to create 3 custom images for your most important pages so they format properly when shared on social media. And that's kind of the whole social media optimization thing for SEO. But yeah, just make sure you do that. You really don't have to fill these out, just focus on the image. Alright, that's most of the things that are specific to WordPress. The only other thing for WordPress-specific optimizations is the local SEO plugin by Yoast. I really don't use this on a lot of my client sites. I actually don't use it on any of them. But this helps tell Google about your business hours, your location, and other data, so it helps display properly in search results. But if you send Google enough signals, you really shouldn't need this. You know, filling out your social media profiles, listing your information on your website. There's a lot of other things you can do that you really don't need to pay for this plugin. But, you know, some would argue that it does other things and that, you know, it's worth it. But you can look into it if you would like. The main things that you want to do for local SEO, besides the building out your geographic-specific landing pages, are called off-page factors, so things that you do that really don't have to do with your website. The Google My Business is huge, so you really need to create a Google My Business profile. Make sure that you don't have an existing one because you don't want to create a duplicate, but you just want to make sure this profile is 100% complete. You have professional photos. One thing is when you list your categories, a lot of the times you can find multiple categories to list your business under, like photographer and wedding photographer are 2 separate categories. So just list as many relevant categories as possible. And fill out everything 100% complete as much as you can. So that is actually very easy, but you need to do that because your Google My Business page, not only shows up when people Google your business name, so these reviews and this information is being pulled from Google My Business, but it also shows up if people Google a non-branded search term, Chicago SEO consultant, and sure enough, here's my information, and here are my reviews on my Google business page. So creating your Google My Business page is not just the only thing you have to do. You want to focus on other external local signals, which is a fancy name for online directories, you could call them. They're also called citations in local SEO. But a good way to start with those, this is actually very easy. Just go to Moz Local, type in your business, and Moz Local will show your 15 most important listings. So if you have inconsistent information, if you're missing profiles, if they're incomplete, or if there's duplicates, Moz Local will show all of that right here. So you can see I have, maybe there's some things I need to do for Foursquare, but you really want to click on these three things to look at specific things you need to do. So categories you might be able to ignore, because a lot of times you can't list a ton of categories just because they're not very relevant. But some things like adding a photo you can do to help improve this listing. And Moz Local actually has the link that goes directly to your profile, so you can update it really easily. So go through and make sure all your profiles are complete. Make sure they're not inconsistent. A lot of the times, if you list the non-www version of your site when it's www, that is an inconsistency, and you can fix that really easily. So you want to look at those items as well as the duplicates. So if you have any duplicates, click Fix Duplicate and request it to be taken down, or just delete the account if you have the login. Moz Local is a really good place to start for your citations, but you really want to build as many as you can. Honestly, hundreds of these are really good for your SEO, because if you look at the search ranking factors, citation volume, the number of citations you have is a big ranking factor. So making sure you have a lot of high quality citations is really important. And I listed 20 of these here if you just Google top online directories for SEO. This one's Online Media Masters, but I did list some other directories right here. You can Google, other online directories, but you really want to build hundreds of these. I know it may sound ridiculous, but a lot of people decide to outsource that to SEO companies who are familiar with citation building. It can save a lot of time. But yeah, that is an important ranking factor. On-page signals is really what I went over as far as learning your keywords and making sure that you have the correct landing pages for those phrases. A couple other things you can do is go to your footer or the copyright section right here and list your business name, address, and phone number in the footer. So this is called NAP, which stands for name, address, phone. And having consistent NAP on your website with your Google My Business page and your Facebook and all your directories is super important. So make sure your NAP on your website is consistent with all your directories, and everything's nice and consistent. One other thing you can do when you're developing your landing pages is simply embedding a Google map on your site. So this is a client of mine. So NoHo Tech Computer Support Repair. You see they have a Google My Business page. You say they got a lot of reviews on that. That's partially why they're ranking number one in the Google Maps listings. But I do want to show you one thing that we did for this website. So their primary service area is Northampton, Massachusetts. So you can see in their SEO title right here, we target Northampton MA Computer Repair Service. So it's got their keyword there, and this page is targeting Northampton. But they also said, okay, Tom, we also want to target other service areas like East Hampton and Pioneer Valley. So we actually developed, I just, guided them, but they developed landing pages for each location. So here's Pioneer Valley MA Computer Repair, and that's targeting Pioneer Valley. The thing I wanted to show you is not only that you can target different locations by developing new landing pages, but you can also embed a nice Google map which will help customers learn where you are, and it tells Google a little bit about your location. So back to the local ranking factors. We covered on-page signals, Google My Business, online directories, getting reviews. The main review sites are Google My Business and Yelp. Google My Business, your reviews are not going to get filtered, or your customers' reviews, but Yelp does have a review filter. And the way you can avoid that is by having your customers fill out their Yelp profile. So anyone can create a dummy Yelp profile and post a fake review, but if they're actively using their profile and it's filled out, that tells Yelp that, hey, this is a legitimate review and it's more likely to get posted. So there's other review sites like Urban Spoon might be a good one for restaurants, or Travel Advisor, or TripAdvisor I think it is, Wedding Wire for wedding websites. But Google My Business and Yelp are the best general places to get reviews, but then there's also the industry-specific ones that are also good. Get as many of those as you can, because like I said, those reviews show up in branded search results when you Google your business name, and non-branded when you Google like Chicago SEO consultant. So they're good for both branding and they're a ranking factor. Social signals is really just having a good social media presence. You can focus on these ones right here, but other social networks help too. Behavior and mobile signals. Having a fast, mobile responsive site is really good. You can include a mobile click to call. Having Foursquare check-ins and offers does help. But yeah, just making sure your website has a mobile responsive theme and that it loads quickly is really what you want to do, as well as be active on Foursquare and those social networks. A couple other things I want to go over is Google Analytics and Google Search Console. So I'm assuming you have Google Analytics installed on your site, but maybe you really don't know how to take that data and get actionable recommendations. So what you want to do is Google Analytics custom dashboards. Here's my tutorial. And you can download these charts which provide a lot of good data about your website. So you can see how many people are coming to your website from organic results, referral traffic, direct, keywords, what URL they're coming from, social networks sending the most traffic. So these dashboards will segment a lot of metrics so you can really get some useful data out of your analytics. I did one for SEO, social media, geography, mobile analytics, entrances and exits where people enter your site and exit, a technical dashboard, and so forth. So all you have to do is click this link, select your profile, and this dashboard will import directly into your Google Analytics account so you can get all this data for your website. One other thing is if you go to your Google Search Console, I'm not going to assume based off of working with clients that you have this installed, but you can install this by going to your Yoast General Settings options and going to Webmaster Tools. So when you get to the verification process, just simply click the HTML tag option, paste that code in here, and delete everything between the quotations. And then save changes, and then go to Google Search Console and click Verify. So the process for setting these up is pretty much the same for all of these, but once you do that, it'll take a couple days to get some data from your site. But then you want to go back to your Google Search Console, and they should provide you with a list of detailed recommendations on what to do, like set www, submit your sitemap, so forth. So a couple things you can do to start is submit your Yoast sitemap here. So if you go to XML sitemaps, and then you click on this XML sitemap button, you want to copy this part of the URL, and then add test sitemap here. You can also set international targeting right here. I believe it's right here. Where is it? Okay, here we go. International targeting. It's under search traffic. So you can actually target a specific country just by going here and entering in the United States or wherever you want. So going through those initial Search Console recommendations is a really good start, but it also tells you, crawl errors with your website is a good one. HTML improvements is really good. You can look links to your website. You can look at whether your site has any manual penalties against it, whether it's mobile friendly. Just a lot of good information here to improve your SEO. And that really isn't local specific, but that is a big part of the whole SEO thing that every website needs to do. So that's really all I got. I know it's a lot, but focus on the core signals right here, and you should be fine. The Google My Business, the citations, the reviews, solid social media presence, getting your keywords down, and building out those geographic-specific landing pages are all really good. That's a great start. So if you have any questions, leave me a comment in this video. Otherwise, I hope it was helpful.